Alright, so I'm gonna probably get a lot of flack for this, but I actually kind of like Redfall. Like, quite a bit. Like, I'm actually having a really fun time playing it by myself. Everywhere on the internet I go, whether it's YouTube or Twitter or any social media really, everybody's hating on the game, and rightfully so. We'll get into that, of course. But from a personal experience, I think it's worth playing. I think it's just a fun game to actually play around in, and it is up to like 4-player co-op, I believe, so you can play with your friends, which I'm sure just enhances the experience for a lot of other people. But even playing it just by myself for like a few hours, I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you don't know what Redfall is, it's pretty much this survival game where a city called Redfall is taken over by vampires. So the enemies in the game are vampires, which are more rare to find, and then you have these cultists that you also need to fight. And it's this open world city, and you can go around and you pretty much have to build up like your survival team and kind of take over different bases. And it's pretty much Dead Island. If you've ever played Dead Island, you start out with a small group of people, contact other groups of people, build up bases, and yeah, and then you fight zombies while you're on the island. And Redfall is pretty much Dead Island, but instead of zombies, it's vampires and these cultist people or whatever. And I find it a lot of fun, to be honest with you. Now, that's not to say this game doesn't have issues. It has plenty of issues. For example, if you play on console, the game is locked at 30 FPS, which is criminal in my opinion. Especially for the way the game looks and runs, it should definitely be able to push 60, even more than 60 to be honest, especially on an Xbox Series X, which I play on typically. Now on PC, you can adjust the frame rate if you have a good enough PC, but what I'm saying is the game overall is just not optimized very well, and it's quite unfortunate. Also, other people have encountered a lot of bugs in the game and like NPCs not acting normally, and I think there was a clip I saw of Moist Critical where he was trying to fight a vampire and he couldn't even like get around a box. It's just there's a lot of issues that people are pointing out, and I get that, but personally from my experience, I haven't encountered any of those issues. Like I literally have not encountered any bugs. The only issue I've encountered so far is the lack of 60 FPS support, which is a little bit annoying, but the game overall is fun enough that, I don't know, I kind of got used to it after a while, and I don't know, I still like it. Now, you might decide to count my opinion invalid or not, because I've only played the game for about 4 hours, so it's not very long that I played the game. I have no idea how long the game actually is, but from my experience, I've only played for 4 hours, and I was having a ton of fun throughout it. Now, I don't know if the game, like, gets super repetitive and super boring after that threshold or whatever, but just from the time I played it, I had a lot of fun with it. And look, I don't want to hate on other people talking about this game, especially Critical, because he's like one of my favorite YouTubers, but I have to admit, when you take your time with this game, it's a lot more fun. For example, when I see other people playing through it, they just rush through it, try and, speed run past everything, just blow everything to hell in the game. And so a lot of the times I was like doing stealth and taking my time and really experiencing the game. And I felt like it was a lot more fun than just going in guns blazing, like super fast and rushing through a lot of the stuff. Also, I tackled a lot of side missions in it because I thought it was fun. I took over another base and I went out exploring, and I don't know, I just found the experience pretty fun overall of exploring the open world and doing these side objectives. And when I say it feels like Dead Island, it really feels like Dead Island to me. Obviously, I still like Dead Island more because it's Dead Island. It's a classic game, but it definitely has that vibe to it, and I really appreciate it because I love Dead Island so much. Side note, I haven't played Dead Island 2 yet. I haven't even bought it yet. I know people love it, but I don't have the money for it right now. So I'm not comparing the game to Dead Island 2, I'm just comparing it to Dead Island, but regardless, I still find it like a fun Dead Island experience. So if you're looking for a fun solo experience or a co-op experience with your friends, I definitely think it's worth a shot to try it and try and play the game. Obviously, if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. I'm not forcing you to, but I definitely think it's worth a shot. However, I will not say that it is worth $70. It is definitely far from being worth $70. So when I say that this game is worth playing, worth putting your time into, I mean that, but I don't mean it's worth buying. Pretty much what I'm trying to get at is if you have Game Pass, try and play the game. It's available in Game Pass, and along with a ton of other games, Game Pass is really a great deal. I'm not here to sell it to you, but if you have Game Pass, I think Redfall is definitely worth at least trying it out. But if you don't have Game Pass, first of all, I'd recommend getting it. It's just really nice to have. Or you could even sign up for like a 1-month trial, I think, or a week trial or something that they give out, and then you just download the game like that. But I don't think paying full price for this is just worth it. Like, I don't think this game should be more than $30, to be honest. So $70 is absolutely ridiculous. But if you have Game Pass, it's definitely worth it. That's how I've been playing it. And I know from playing it myself, I would not spend $70 on this game. But since I already have Game Pass, it's just a lot of fun to play through, in my opinion. Obviously, there was I don't want to say a lack of effort, but a lack of, like, want to make this game. You can definitely tell that Arcane, like, is kind of just trying to push this game out the door so they can focus on other projects. Like, there's not even cutscenes in the game. They're, like, slideshow cutscenes, which can be cool sometimes. But in this instance, I kind of wish there were actual cutscenes. The gameplay overall is really fun. The story isn't anything great, but, like, it's kind of like a hero shooter almost, a little bit. Like, you get to pick your hero, and they have, like, these different powers that can be upgraded, and there's a skill tree, and you can customize your character, your guns. I even got this, like, cool magic gun with runes on it really early in the game. And it was just a blast to use, if I'm being honest with you. Also, there's one more point I want to tackle. A lot of people are saying the open world feels very empty, and it does sometimes to an extent. But when I was exploring the open world personally, I felt like I was running into a lot of encounters with cultists and vampires. Less vampires, they are more rare to find, but they are a lot harder to fight, of course. And so they're like mini bosses almost. Not really, they're pretty easy overall. But yeah, I found a fair amount of people scattered. Obviously, it wasn't fully populated. I mean, it's a city taken over by vampires, where most of the population's dead. Now, whether that was by design or, like, technical limitations, because they really couldn't do it, I don't know. But regardless, I didn't really find an issue with it in general anyways. And I think that's about it, really. That's about all I have to say about it. I know people are probably going to come in here hating, saying it's trash, it's terrible, how would you even like this game? But I don't know, I went into this game thinking I would hate it, because I didn't even know the game was coming out. I didn't really know much about it, but I saw the reviews come out and people were dogging on it about how terrible it was. So I'm like, hey, I have Game Pass, I'll download it and try playing it. And I actually had a really good time. If you hate the game, that is completely fine. I don't care. But I just say it's at least worth a shot if you have Game Pass. Don't buy it. Don't pay for it. Maybe down the line, if it goes on a extremely high sale, and by that time there'll probably be a lot of fixes, and maybe it'll be worth buying. But honestly, just use Game Pass to play it. And if you don't have Game Pass, I wouldn't necessarily say this game is worth downloading Game Pass just to play this game. But if you do, I think it's worth your time at least like an hour or so, to see if you actually enjoy it yourself or not. But yeah, disagree, agree. I mean, I don't know. I want to hear what you guys think about it. Because I don't know, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really don't have much more to add. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.